The Tyrannosaurus woman. Imagine settling into a long-haul flight. You know the drill: the stale air, the droning engines, the endless hours stretching ahead. You hope for a quiet journey, maybe a nap, a movie, or just some uninterrupted time with your thoughts. This was precisely my expectation as I buckled into my seat, ready for what I hoped would be an uneventful journey across time zones. Little did I know, the most memorable character of my travel life was about to join me, just one seat away. The flight started like any other. The safety briefing, the gentle rumble of the engines, the slow ascent into the clouds. Soon enough, the cabin crew began serving lunch. It was a standard airline meal: plastic cutlery, a tiny bread roll, and something vaguely resembling chicken or pasta. I was digging into my food, minding my own business, when I subtly became aware of the person next to me. It was a woman, seemingly unremarkable, also eating her meal. But then things started to get odd. Very, very slowly. I noticed her movements became incredibly deliberate. Her fork would slowly lift, hover for a moment, then slowly descend to her mouth. Her chewing slowed to an almost glacial pace. It was like watching a video playing at half speed, then quarter speed. My eyes kept drifting to her, not wanting to stare but unable to ignore the bizarre deceleration happening right beside me. I wondered if she was just incredibly tired, or perhaps savoring every bite of the airline food. Then suddenly, she stopped. Completely. Her fork was suspended halfway to her mouth, knife in hand, a piece of half-cut food still on her plate. Her head was bowed forward, suspended just inches above her tray table. Absolute stillness. Not a twitch, not a breath that I could discern. Her eyes were closed, or perhaps just cast downwards. The entire scene was frozen, like a bizarre tableau. My mind started racing. Is she okay? Is she dead? A cold prickle ran down my spine. This was a long flight, trapped in a metal tube next to a potential cadaver. My internal alarm bells were screaming, but my external self remained perfectly still. I didn't want to panic, to cause a scene, to frighten everyone around me. You know, the whole dead person on a plane thing. That's a pretty big deal. I tried to tell if she was breathing. Was that faint mist from the air conditioning or her breath? I had no idea. The silence emanating from her was absolute. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my own rising panic. I gently tapped her shoulder, a light, tentative touch. No reaction. I pushed a little harder, softly asking, "Excuse me, are you all right?" Nothing. Not a flicker. Not a sigh. It was like pushing against a statue. The terror was quickly being replaced by an overwhelming sense of absurdity. What was I supposed to do? Shout for help? Start CPR? The idea of trying to revive someone who might just be deeply asleep felt ridiculous, but the alternative was terrifying. My eyes darted around, looking for a stewardess. I caught the eye of one passing by, and subtly, almost imperceptibly, I tilted my head towards the woman next to me, raising my eyebrows in a silent, desperate question. The stewardess, bless her professional soul, noticed my subtle signal. She didn't react overtly, just gave a knowing nod and continued her path. But a few minutes later, the cavalry arrived. It was like a scene straight out of a Hollywood movie. 5 stewardesses, including the co-pilot, suddenly converged on our row. They formed a tight, discreet barrier around our seats, shielding the view from other curious passengers. Their faces were serious, concerned, but also incredibly composed. I heard muffled whispers, hushed tones, as they tried to get a reaction from the woman. "Ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear us? Don't you die on me now, ma'am." The tension in that small, contained space was palpable. The co-pilot even knelt down, gently shaking her. This was it. This was the moment. Was she about to be declared deceased at 30,000 feet? Then, just as the suspense reached its peak, The woman stirred. Slowly, her head lifted. Her eyes, still heavy-lidded, fluttered open. She looked around, seemingly disoriented, at the ring of concerned faces surrounding her. A collective sigh of relief, barely audible, went through the crew. And then, in a voice that was perfectly clear, if a little slow, she uttered a single, unforgettable sentence. "I took really strong sleeping pills," and then, as if on cue, she went right back to sleep in the exact same Tyrannosaurus posture. Her head bowed forward, hands still grasping the now removed fork and knife, which the flight attendant had carefully taken from her grasp. It was as if this had happened before, as if she had anticipated this entire conversation, knowing her mind would only be awake long enough for that one crucial line of explanation. The crew, after a moment of stunned silence, exchanged glances, that mixed relief with sheer disbelief. They gently removed her tray table, lowered her armrests, and made her as comfortable as possible, still in her strange, hunched position. So for the entire remaining 6 or 7 hour flight, there she was, the woman next to me, mimicking a Tyrannosaurus Rex, her hands still clutching phantom fork and knife, occasionally drooling onto the table. Every single passenger who walked past our row, heading to the restroom or stretching their legs, would slow down, do a double take, and then give me that questioning look, the one that said, "What in the world is happening here? And why are you sitting next to it?" I just shrugged, or offered a weary, amused smile. What else could I do? It was, without a doubt, the most unforgettable flight of my life. It was chaotic, terrifying, absurd, and ultimately profoundly hilarious. It was a bizarre, unexpected encounter that turned a mundane journey into a story I'll never forget. It just goes to show you, sometimes the best adventures aren't found in your destination, but right there, in the seat beside you, when someone takes truly strong sleeping pills.